Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Just want to make sure I'm on. I wanted to jump on here and finish The Lord is our shepherd and we're the sheep. There's so many good Bible verses that talk about the shepherd and the sheep. And I just had to pull out just a handful of them. I was going to talk about the Passover lamb, but I'm going to wait until I jump back on when I talk about Palm Sunday, which is this Sunday. So I'll be on before Sunday or on Sunday to share that with you. Now, I left off where we were running from God. We're afraid that he's going to punish us. So we run from him when his grace and his mercy is following us. If we would just stop and allow him to love on us. That's all he wants to do. He's a good God. So when we wander off into dangerous circumstances, getting caught like a sheep, I'm talking about a sheep. Sometimes they get caught in pricker bushes, or they'll walk right in front of a predator, or fall off a cliff into a river and float down the river if they survive the fall. Now the shepherd uses his tools, the rod and staff, to defend, rescue, and bring his sheep back into his protection. The staff is the hook where he pulls the sheep. The hook will go around the sheep's neck and he'll gently pull them to safety. If you're going to be protected against the wolves and the dogs, we need a shepherd to defend us, and that's what Jesus does. If we are going to manage to not fall into a group that would lead you off a cliff into accepting things or doing things because everyone else is accepting them or doing them, we are going to need a shepherd's voice, a shepherd who will call out, "Whoa, stop. Get off the cliff. Come back to me. Follow me. Don't follow men. Don't follow them. Follow me." That's what God tells us. I don't want you to go there. You're going to get harmed. Be careful who you follow. If they shrug their shoulders at sin or even encourage you into sin, if they tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear, they're not your friend. A true friend is someone that will tell you the truth, even if they know that it might sacrifice your relationship with them, because they'll be upset or mad at you. But if you really love them, they need to know the truth. Confront them in a loving way. A sheep likes to stay with her sheep friends. Sheep are very social. They like to hang out together. The good shepherd knows a missing sheep means something has gone wrong for the sheep. He knows that the sheep had a choice in the matter. She would be with her flock, where she belongs, and feels safe. They feel safe around their flock, around a group of other sheep. We were not meant to be alone. That's why God created us women, so men would not be alone. Now he knew that without him, the sheep is vulnerable to dangerous predators that will not just injure, but destroy the sheep. His sheep needs him. The shepherd responds to the sheep's need, bearing the inconvenience of searching for it, even in the dark. Even in the dark, a good shepherd will go after that sheep to find it, because the sheep, they're defenseless against any kind of predator. Sheep don't go off alone unless it is hurt. A lone sheep is a stressed sheep. The herd instinct is so strong, being away from other sheep is stressful to them. But a sheep in pain will separate itself from the flock, even if it isn't too weak to keep up, even if it could keep up, but is still disabled. This way, they are less of a danger to the flock by not attracting watching predators to attack the flock by her weakened presence, advertising to them easy prey. A sheep is willing to give up their life, stay behind, so the other flock, the other sheep, are not in danger, knowing that it will die because it'll be destroyed by a predator. They care about the other flock. They care about the other sheep. It's too bad that people are more like sheep in that sense. Now, the sheep may have fallen in a way that they are stuck. Not all of them go astray. Some of them may be stuck due to heavy wool growth or pregnancy. Her center of the gravity may be so off she could be trapped in a low spot on the ground, stuck and unable to shift her body weight enough for it to be impossible to get up on her own. If they are trapped on their side, they will die from too much pressure on the heart. Thank God that Jesus comes along and picks us up when we've fallen down, when we're down on our knees, when we're having hard times. Jesus is there to lift us up. He knows the vulnerabilities of his sheep without his efforts. The more of his time and energy he spends on the sheep, the more connected to them he becomes. The more he is around them, the more they are a part of his life. The more shepherding becomes a part of his whole identity. Now, I like this verse. Now, why would a shepherd leave behind 99 perfectly good, well-behaved sheep who are right where they are supposed to be? The 99 are safe enough. The shepherd knows it is the lost one who needs him that very moment. He is talking about children, our children. He is talking about the disabled, the widows, the poor, the sick. They depend on us to protect them. That's what he's talking about. When you have 3, 4, 5, how many kids you have, and that one strays off, you're going to chase them down. You're going to do everything in your power to get them home safe. But there's sometimes that God himself will bring them straight to eternity, straight into his kingdom. They will go home. Not an earthly home, but a heavenly home. But you'll do everything you can to go after that lost one. That's what the shepherd does for us. He comes after us, so that not one of us shall perish. So pay attention. The lost sheep are important to God. Therefore, they should be very important to us. God values us. It shows his heart for the lost, the unsaved, the lost. Jesus came for the lost, but also his heart in general for all of us, because we're all in need. We all have pain in our lives, and we all are lost sheep in some way or another, whether it is in regards to eternal salvation or healing. He cares because he knows we need him, because we're lost without him. You are lost without him. And I know this is really sounds brutal, animal cruelty. Excuse me. But sometimes those that stray, not the elderly, not the ones that have disabilities, the children, the ones that stray. I strayed so many times. I strayed from God. But sometimes in order to keep us safe from wandering into danger, the shepherd will use a vacuum cleaner bag around the sheep's mouth to prevent him from biting the shepherd. The shepherd has to break the leg of the sheep. They position him on a rock and break their leg. I know, that sounds horrible. It's life or death at this point. At that moment, they'll bite you. I'll try to bite whoever's trying to break my leg. I'm not going to give in without a fight. But then the shepherd will reset the leg and carry them on their shoulders and will carry them for the next 4 weeks, and every bit of food or water it gets will come from the shepherd's hands. So the shepherd's going to carry the sheep for 4 weeks and feed them right out of their hand. They care. The shepherds care and love them. 4 weeks they're carrying them. It's worth them to go through that, even if they had to break their leg. I know that sounds drastic, but we're like that. We're stubborn. He chases after us to try to save us. So during that time, the sheep will bond with the shepherd, and afterwards he'll come away with a limp, but that sheep will stay next to the shepherd for the rest of its life. It might hobble around or hop around or limp around, but it won't leave the shepherd because the shepherd cared for it. Although, yeah, the leg was broke, but he did that to keep him from being devoured by the enemy and destroyed. So don't forget, our shepherd also became a sheep, a lamb. And remember what happened happened to our shepherd when he became a sheep. Isaiah 53:7, he was led as a lamb to the slaughter. He's a good shepherd. The good shepherd stands in defense of the sheep regardless of what happens. He protects us regardless. Now those who scatter the flock and allow them to be hit by outside influence and devoured by foxes and carried away are hirelings. They're hired helpers, hired workers. They don't care about the sheep. They're just getting paid. The shepherd cares about the sheep. He watches over them. That's what Jesus does. He watches over us. He protects us, keep us safe. The path of the righteousness is determined by the shepherd as he sees fit. Not as we see fit, but as he sees fit. The path you're on may be totally different next year than what you're on right now. But it's up to God. And Matthew 7:15, beware of false prophets. This is kind of end times. Beware of false prophets. A sheep in wolf's clothing, a sheep in wolf's clothes, disguising himself as a sheep in order to gain entrance into the folds. Not feeding, but destroying souls, feeding themselves by the destruction of the flock. Be careful who you hang out with. Be careful who you trust. Sheep will follow sheep, like I said before. One goes over the cliff, the other one will follow. The shepherd is there to turn them around in another direction. Jesus is there to say, come on, you're going the wrong way. Follow me. So sheep gets what's called, this is really cool. I really like this. So sheep gets what's called summer fever, along with a headache when out in the sun for too long. Because they are light-skinned, they're pink. Now, goats are dark-skinned, so this doesn't affect the goat. So the shepherds would rub some oil on their head and massage it in real good. Now, I don't know how you would know if a sheep has a headache. Because it says summer fever along with a headache. How do you know a sheep's got a headache? I don't know how they would know, but a shepherd once said, I don't know if it takes away their pain because they're still warm after he pours the oil on their head and rubs it in. I don't know if it takes away their pain because they're still warm after I do that. They say, I don't think the sheep want me to take their pain away. This is good. They want me to do this so they know that I care about their pain. We just want and need to know that Jesus, that God is with us even through our trials and our pain. And he is. We pray, God, take this from us. Jesus, pray, take this cup from me, if it be your will. A lot of times it's not God's will, but he's right there with us. He's a good shepherd. So they see that the shepherd is with them in their pain. And right after he'd rubbed their heads, they would lie down one after another. They knew he cared by his gentle touch. Jesus is with us in our pain, and he cares for us. I'm just seeing what time it is. Okay. Isaiah 40:11. He shall gather the lambs with his arms, the weaklings of the flock, the same with babes and sucklings, newly born souls, the new Christians, weak believers, the poor of the flock. These he gathers with his arm of power and by the ministry of the gospel. He gathers them up onto his arms in a way of protection when they're liable to fall into the hands of powerful enemies to be devoured and to be hurt by them, and he'll carry them when they're not able to go by themselves. He will carry us. He's carried me through the valley so many times when I was too weak to walk. He'll carry you. Now, lamb is mentioned, it's also mentioned as the Passover lamb, the most important religious act of the year. Jesus takes the ancient Jewish feast of the Passover and he connects it with his own sacrifice on the cross. I don't want to get into that. That's good. So that's a whole different teaching. And that'll be what I'll talk about next time I jump on in Palm Sunday. But let me scroll down because I have a lot to say about that one. I was going to talk about it, but it'd be too long in this teaching. Okay, now I'm going to wrap it up right here. Now, the first time he came as the Lamb of God, our sacrifice. But the next time he comes, he'll be coming as the Lion of Judah. Now, the Lion of Judah, I'm going to touch on that real quick. The Lion of Judah, remember the 12 tribes? It began with the 12 sons of Jacob. Later called Israel. God changed Jacob's name to Israel. Well, Judah was the fourth son of Jacob and his first wife, Leah. Remember? Now, King David came from this tribe. And the lions are frequently symbols of leadership, as the lion is considered the king of the animals, the king of the jungle. Judah is a lion cub from the prey. Jacob, he blessed each son, each of his 12 sons. He says to Judah, my son, you are a lion's whelp. You have gone up, grown up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion and a lioness who dare rouse him. A lion's vicious. So it's a picture of a lion who has taken down his prey and now stands over it, defying anyone to take it from him. In other words, Judah will be mighty and victorious and dangerous to his enemies. To even dare to challenge this lion would be an act of bravery. Jesus, who will also descend from his tribe. Micah 5:2 will carry the title of the Lion of Judah. Jesus will carry the title of the Lion of Judah, the root of David. He has conquered death. Because of Judah's blessing, the tribe of Judah adopted the symbol of the lion to represent itself. The lion's symbol came to represent blessings and even divine protection of the Jews. And he's portrayed as having victory through sacrifice. The Lion of Judah represents Jesus in his second appearance when he will rule with a rod and iron. I'm getting excited. And the lamb represents Jesus as he was in his first coming. As a lion, he is judge As a lion, he is judged. As a lamb, he was judged. The lion represents perfect power. The lamb represents perfect peace. The lion represents the government of God. The lamb represents the grace of God. Woo, that's some good stuff there. Oh, I skipped over a lot because I want to share that with you next time I jump on. It's been over 20 minutes, and I don't mean to time it, because really, if God puts something on my heart, I'm going to share it. But I just love doing this. I'm so excited. God has opened my eyes and heart to have so much revelation of what he wrote in the Bible. And I can understand it so much better when I've broken it down into details. And it's just so good. I just love sharing this with you guys. And I hope you do too. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. I hope you guys have a great evening. I'll probably be on probably either Thursday